So about 2 weeks ago or so, I decided to dive into the Mother series. Now, this is one that I have been aware of since the Super NES days, yet I've never played any of the titles. I heard about the games, and especially the first one, I heard about it in a video game magazine back in 1991 when it was mentioned it was coming to the US. However, this is the closest I came to playing Earthbound on the Super NES back in the day. That's right, sniffing that sticker on a page inside a Nintendo Power magazine. Now, who in marketing had the bright idea to use this type of strategy on bringing a prominent Japanese-style Nintendo RPG to the West by stating that the game stinks? Good job, guys. That's awesome. And you know what? I never did rent it whenever I passed it on the Blockbuster store I used to go to. And it was always just there at the end of the aisle, sticking out like a sore thumb due to the oversized box. Yeah, Blockbuster. Remember those?
Welcome to Blockbuster Video.
Is popping up all over the country. There's one near you.
Blockbuster Video. Wow, what a difference.
Nintendo did dump $2 million into its campaign and goal to try and reach the Western audience. The guidebook was a full-size guide, not the size of a regular Super NES manual. It was packed with information on the game and it was awesome. But the high price point was a huge turnoff for gamers back then. I mean, think about it, 90 bucks? If I adjust that for inflation for 2023, that's a little over $178. That's a lot of money. Oh man, I wish I would have picked up that game at that price. Try to get the game or just the guide nowadays and you're gonna be paying an exuberant amount for either. And look at this here, it's just insane. But over time, Earthbound and the Mother series became a classic among the gaming community, and it achieved cult status. Mother 1 was initially set to be released in 1991 internationally, but was ultimately cancelled. We wouldn't see an official release by Nintendo themselves on that game until 2015 when it was released for the Wii U Virtual Console. Mother 2 would be released outside of Japan as Earthbound. Years later, Nintendo would develop Mother 3 for the Game Boy Advance and released only in Japan after seeing the disappointing reception Earthbound had on the Super Nintendo, selling about only maybe 14,000 copies in the West. Nintendo at that point had no intention whatsoever for bringing the next title to the States, not even as a digital port. Now, from a business standpoint, it makes sense. Once Mother series creator Shigesato Itoi declared the series over as of Mother 3, fans got together to create Mother 4. But the fan-made game was soon hit with a letter of desist and Mother 4 development would come to a halt for a period of time before all artwork and characters were altered slightly to prevent any direct resemblance to characters from the Mother series. The result was that Mother 4 now changed its title to Oddity. Now this project was started all the way back in 2008, and as of 2023 and the release of this video, this title has gone through more revisions than humans can count. And you know what? Don't even think about going through the Reddit feed for it, because you will lose days of sleep and, more importantly, hope, as you start to realize, along with many others, that this title might never see the light of day. So some fans of the Oddity game decided to do something that those developers of that game haven't gotten around to figuring out after 15 years, and that is to release a game, any at all, to the gaming community that loosely followed in the footsteps of Earthbound. Xenotown is the result. This game was inspired by Oddity and released back in August of 2022. It was developed by Boatmeal Bros after growing tired of waiting for the Oddity team to give an update on an exact date of the release of that game. Which brings me to the point of this video. Xenotown is a RPG style game that has very little RPG-like elements and some of the charm that made the Mother series so beloved. The story is a 180 on the Mother series. Instead of saving the world from invading aliens, Xenotown puts you in the shoes, do they wear shoes? Of an alien sent to Earth to prepare it for colonization. But in order to do this, he needs to blend in with the humans and get our leaders under mind control, you know, to make the invasion easier. If it all sounds too familiar, well, that's because that's the plot for the kids show Invader Zim.
No, you lie! You lie!
For those out there not familiar with Invader Zim, it is a cartoon that ran on the Nickelodeon channel back in 2001 through 2002 before it was pulled from the air due to many reasons I won't go over in this video. But the premise of the show was similar. Alien gets sent to Earth to colonize it and prepare it for invasion. He joins a school disguised as a kid to fit in, and chaos ensues. Xenotown has you crash landing in an undisclosed location full of trailer parks and hobo-looking people for the most part. Luckily, your ship landed on top of a municipal dumping ground, and then you are given orders by your computer to go and find humans to interact with. And by interact, I mean beat them into submission, place them under your control, and find one or two humans that can aid you in not only navigating the new planet, but to fight alongside you as well. Soon you erect a house in the middle of town where you will be operating out of... Wait a second, hold on. This is Invader Zim. This could have been an Invader Zim game and I would have been totally okay with that. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, once you have your house up and running, you can rest there and continue with the story and your quest. Your computer will spit out instructions on what to do next. You will have to communicate with the computer from time to time, but luckily you don't need to go back to your house to do so, since there is an option in the menu to talk to it. And you know what, don't even count on your so-called parental units to give you any help other than money. The downside to the way the game lets you collect money is that it's either found or taken from enemies. The problem here is that enemies are limited. I'm gonna get more into that. The gameplay here consists of you finding out where to go next and then initiating a battle with whatever character or boss that you come across in the scenario. The game has no random battle mechanics. This means you won't be just walking about and getting into a fight randomly. And some people might actually like that though. There is no grinding here. You can go up levels, but as I made this video, I wasn't able to get any experience points and I was trying to figure out why. Turns out that you can get experience points, but only after the third character joins your party. Why? Only reason I can come up with is to not be too overpowered for the rest of the game, maybe prolonging it via difficulty. But getting to that point in the game alone is difficult enough, only due to the lengthy battles. Now, getting your offense and defense up will depend on your equipment that you can collect/find. Once you find some kind of a shop like the burger joint, make sure you spend money on plenty of food. The burger joint, I think, is the best place because the burgers are only $1 and they replenish plenty of hit points. There is no magic here, at least not from the time I have spent playing it. Only way to replenish your health, at least for me so far in the game, is to use food items throughout the battle sequences. So stock up, cause the bosses, they are no pushovers at all. You do pick up an ally early in the game, but don't be surprised if your ally or you perish during the battle, since they have lots of hit points and soak up tons of damage. It would have been nice to have enemies with lower HP, especially in the beginning where fights just take way too long and become way too repetitive very fast. I am stuck on this boss character here only because he has so many hit points and I don't do a lot of damage. So even though he only has around 360 hit points, your hits only take between 2 to 4 points off of him. Even critical hits only take between 5 to 6 points, and that doesn't happen very often. What little techniques you have to start off with don't help much either. In the beginning you start off with this thing called Solar Slap, which is pretty much useless. You're better off spending that round hitting the enemy with your weapon or fist. Now, I am sure there are more techniques as you progress, but again, I haven't gotten that far into the game. Since there is no grinding or any encounters other than talking to NPCs, the gameplay here consists mostly of just walking around and finding out where to go next, and eventually talking to someone that starts a confrontation. So there will be plenty of just walking and nothing happening. It took me a while to find the school here since it doesn't look like a school to me, even though I knew I needed to go to the school to progress. After playing through the school scenario, I walked around and explored the small town to get an idea of what was where, even though I found many stores and houses were closed. During this time I spoke to many NPCs and be prepared for a nice, well thought out dialogue. I was also surprised that there were many discussions in the game that were a bit vulgar, which kind of threw me off since the overall visual aesthetics would make you think it would not include anything like that, but it wasn't to the point where it completely ruins the game. The graphics are extremely colorful and I like the overall looks of buildings and the town environments. I could do without the very psychedelic style backgrounds when battling enemies. I didn't care for them when I saw them in Earthbound, and I am not a fan of them here. The battles themselves felt very lethargic, with little to do other than just attacking or healing yourself. It would have been nice to have included more techniques or some sort of attacking options from the beginning that reflect something different happening on the screen. A little bit more animation maybe, even a screen that shakes when you take a hit. As it is, it all looks a little bit too stiff for me. The battles grew very tiresome after just the 4th or maybe 5th time, and you're going to be redoing battles again and again, trust me on that. The enemies are also very diverse considering the fact that you don't have random battles, but the story will navigate you through some weird scenarios that will have you encountering not just normal enemies like cops and angry teachers, but ghouls, giant roaches, this weird looking bird, robots, and clowns, just to name a few. I'm sorry, but clowns I don't... You know what, let's move on. The music I found to be very nicely done. I did check out another YouTube channel with the full soundtrack, and I gotta say, I was surprised at the various styles of music. Some come off as eerie and some feel very techno and robotic in its execution. Overall, I would say a very well diverse set of music, for sure. The menus and overall layout are not confusing and feel very simplistic. Doesn't get complicated. That's a good thing. You got equipment, items to use, and you can even communicate with your home-based computer to get an idea of what to do next. I highly recommend you look everywhere to upgrade your characters to use weapons. Otherwise, get ready to spend a lot of time in battles. Overall, even though I have quite a few gripes with the game here and there, I recommend you try this one out. If you love Earthbound or those type of games with that modern time visuals instead of fantasy themed titles, give it a try. I spoke via Reddit to one of the creators of the game, and he told me that this game here was a product between two people. Now I'm talking artwork, visuals, gameplay mechanics, soundtrack. Everything you see was done by two individuals. Two passionate gamers who took their love of a game and turned it into something other gamers can enjoy. That's pretty damn impressive, and that's what I love about the indie gaming scene. I think with a few tweaks here and there, this game could be a very solid title. Lower the hit points on the enemies. If they are high at the beginning of the game, I hate to think what awaits me towards the second half of the story. The techniques and their usefulness need revamping. Experience points need to be accessed from the very beginning. At least it then gives us a chance to compete in a more even field. The good thing here is that you can save the game at any point in time, so my advice when playing this game is to save and save often. There is nothing worse than getting through a very long scenario in the game, getting to that part where you have to fight the boss and you lose the battle and now you have to start all over again. And like I said, this game has some very lengthy battles, and that's not something you want to do over and over again, so save often. Price for this game on Steam right now is just below that of a McDonald's value meal. You cannot get better than that, come on. And you know what, I got it on sale too, which was almost a giveaway. To think that this game came out after being inspired by a game that was in turn inspired by the Mother series. It's not a bad effort at all. Now, I'm not going to sit here and give this game a rating or a score. I'm here only to point out the overall game, its gameplay, and some of the pros and cons. Whether you buy it or not, that I leave entirely up to you. I will leave the links to the Steam store site for the game, as well as the YouTube channel for the Boatmeal Brothers in the description area. Oh, and just to make this clear, this is not a sponsored review. I did not or will not get any sort of money for making this video on this game. I found this title while researching the Mother series, and after seeing a trailer and reading up a little bit about it, I found it to be entertaining, and hopefully by making this video I can spread the word on this game so that others might try it out. Now, on an ending note, please do not harass anyone from the Oddity game development team. Even though I do have my critique on the game being stuck in development limbo and joking about it, you have to remember that a lot of people put their time and love in their own free time towards creating that game. If crowdfunding or a GoFundMe page is needed to get this game over the hump, then so be it. But I think at this point it's unfair to the developers and all the talented individuals that have worked on this game, as well as the fans out there, to not release this game. It looks great, and this is coming from someone who is not a fan of the series yet. I am currently playing through Earthbound Beginnings on the Switch, and I am liking it so far. Anyway, hope some of you maybe learned a little something about the Mother series. I'm gonna be deep diving into this franchise by itself in the near future. In the meantime, keep watching, keep gaming, and as always, take care of yourselves.